Clap along if you feel like a happiness is... Oh, hey guys, how you doing? Happiness, the manga, is absolutely fucking fire. I'm so happy for each and every one of you guys, especially We Do Be Collecting Manga, for recommending this to me because it is exactly what I want, exactly what I need in a manga, and I cannot be any more happy with what I read. Even though I only ordered 1 through 8 because I thought for whatever reason that manga lot I ordered was the whole collection, and then I got to the end of volume 8 and I was like, oh, are you kidding me? There's no way this is the ending. And clearly not, because there's 2 more volumes. But I read a lot of manga this month, a lot of good manga, started a few new series, continued on in some others, and I want to talk about it with you guys because it's been a while. Sorry about that. I've been kind of on the down low recording lately because my camera was a little bit on the wonks, so I've been reverting back to my iPhone for every video for the past probably 3 or 4 weeks. But I got my camera situation fixed. And there's the jets. All right, I think they're finally gone, so let's continue. So I want to talk about today what I read this month, because it was a lot, and then I want to talk about what I'm going to read in the remainder of this month into next month. I read a lot this month, a lot of good shit. What do I want to talk about first? First, I started Origami, and this honestly was twofold. I was recommended it by a few people in my last, the Mushishi giveaway stream. A lot of people were raving about Origami, so I was like, shit, I might as well try it out. But then I also picked up a series that I read this month called The Witch and the Beast, which those of you who follow me on Instagram know all about by now. Absolute fire series. Absolute fire series. It was amazing. And on the back it said, for fans of Origami and such. A darker version of Origami, and I absolutely loved The Witch and the Beast. Quick recap on that. It's basically follows this organization called the Magic Resonance Organization, I believe, which is of magic, by magic, and for magic. They basically go around hunting witches that are kind of like extremely powerful, dangerous beings in this world. It's really kind of like a psychic, detective, magic, fantasy, dark horror, everything you could want, all compiled into one series. I don't want to go too much into it because it's still pretty new and I don't want to ruin it, but I did just order volume 4 and volume 5 is coming out soon, so I will probably be reading those next month if they come in time. But on the back of this, it describes it as a series that is very similar to Origami. And I was like, holy shit, well, I just absolutely loved this series. Read all 3 volumes within like 3 days of each other, honestly, while reading other shit, so I flew through them. I was like, you know, a lot of people are telling me to read Origami. This series is now telling me to read Origami. I get to read Origami. So I picked up volumes 1 through 3, I believe, no, 1 and 2 at the local Barnes & Nobles. Read that shit instantly, absolute fire. And then I was like, well, now I need more, but the Barnes & Nobles only has like 15 through 22. So I went on, ordered them all online, and then I just continued reading them. That's been my nightly read. I always have one series that I'm really into that I read like right before bed, kind of until I fall asleep. So that's been Origami this past month. I just got up to volume 7, I believe, and it's really good. Like I got up to the part with the Bishamon fight where Yato and Bishamon are kind of feuding and they're finally having that epic smackdown based off Kugaha, who's kind of, if you've read the series, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Don't want to spoil it for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, but there's some mischief and it's mismanaged, if you know what I'm talking about. But it's pretty good. It fits these dark elements with, you know, a very happy, cheerful side as well. Like the slice of life is blended perfectly with the fantasy. It's definitely not so much action oriented, which I kind of really like, you know, because as a lot of you know, I'm trying to branch out from my typical like horror and shonen genres. And I think Origami is a perfect segue from your typical action shonen, where it has pretty cool action scenes in it still, and the characters are badass and the fighting's cool, but it also blends that with just the character development and the slice of life where he already still connected to, you know, the high school, and then Yato's a god who's in another world, but they still like each other, and it's got a lot of cool elements in that aspect. So Origami for me is a highly recommended series, and I'm only 7 volumes in. The Witch and the Beast, I did like it a little more than Origami, I'm not gonna lie. That is a 5 out of 5 degenerate stars for your boy Nitro here. Highly recommend that one. It is still a newer series, or not so much a newer series, but it releases a lot slower than those weekly and monthly series, so it's only on like volume 4 or 5 in English. I think 4 is just coming out in English, and I think there's 7 or 8 total right now. It's still ongoing, but it is absolutely fire. Definitely pick up both of those if you haven't checked them out yet. What else did I read? Oh, I got this guy right here. I'm always slowly burning through the... See if I can get this new camera, see if the focus comes up good. It's got really good autofocus. It like locks onto my eye and tracks me, which is really cool. Speaking of the camera, if you guys are, you know, have any questions or any tips or anything you want to hear about my setup, I don't even know how this is going to come out yet. I'm literally the first video I'm using with this camera, but I have had a couple of buddies who are in like, you know, filmography in college and whatnot who have really helped me figure out my camera situation because I want to start streaming more. So if any of you guys want any questions on the equipment I use, feel free to reach out. But Blade of the Immortal, this is always one I'm slowly turning through. I got kind of the mentality of when I'm reading series like Blade of the Immortal that are just so in depth and just the artwork is so beautiful, I don't want to fly through them. I really just want to take in as much of it as I can. And Blade of the Immortal is the epitome of that. The artwork, every stroke just seems like it is so carefully thought of and placed that I've just been slowly going through it. I mean, I say slowly, but that's the omnibus 3 volumes per omnibuses. So I'm on like around volume 7 in there right now. So 7, 8 maybe. So I guess I kind of read a lot, but it doesn't feel like it when you have all of these that are like, you know, 700 pages. But Blade of the Immortal, where I'm up to now, for those of you who have read it, I just got to the part where they're trying to they're banding together with the other Kenshin. Shinra, I just saw him and how much of a monster he really is. Like, he should be the fucking main character of Monster. I can't remember where they're going next. I think they're trying to leave they're trying to get through the checkpoint right now, and they're trying to get the passes to get through it. Or maybe Manji, everybody else has already left, and Manji is trying to get through now. I think that's where I'm at. But Blade of the Immortal, I'm sure most of you know, is absolute fire, and these spines and the covers are absolutely beautiful. If you can get your hands on the omnibus, highly recommend it. The deluxe versions are cool. They're just kind of huge, and I don't really like the covers on them as much, but it's still the story in a bigger form, so that's a good route to go as well. But now we need to talk about the #1 series I read this past month. The series that made your boy go ham and read 8 volumes in literally the course of a day and a half because it was that fucking good. I swear to God, it was that good. And that is Happiness. This series is so good that I really don't want to talk about what the series is in specifics because I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't read it because it is beyond my recommendation. Like, you should just read this now. I don't care if you have to read it online. I don't care if you go pick it up. Just do it. Just read it because it's so good. The way I'd like to explain it without trying to spoil anything is basically basically like a cult fiction in a sense. It mixes your thriller, your slice of life, your suspense, your horror. It mixes all of this beautifully, even more so than Origami. I really don't want to spoil anything, but like, I'll say that there's a lot of twists in there I really didn't expect. But I'm happy that they were there because they were so well thought out and so well executed. So like, what I would rather talk about than the story itself, again, because I don't want to spoil it, is I'd rather talk about the themes of this series because I think that's what really drove it home for me. Like this whole series, as it's called, this whole series, as it's named after, Happiness, kind of shows you the emotional toll and the mental well-being of these characters. I mean, how they can have such happiness for such a short amount of time, and that happiness can be so strong, but with like the flip of a switch, how it's on such thin ice that happiness can be completely taken away at any time. So you really can't not put the weight into it. You need to cherish that happiness and hold on to every second you have it, because in this series, you can see it happens time and time again. Your world's flipped upside down and you don't know what to do. That's what happiness gives to you. It doesn't really sound like that happy of a series, and honestly, at times it's not. But at times it is really cheerful and playful. And then at times it's flipped right on its fucking head. So I think that series is like 100 out of 5 generate stars. It's honestly... It's definitely in my top 3 manga of all time right now. Berserk, Mushishi, and Happiness. I'm just so cheerful, and I can't wait for the last 2 volumes to come in. I'm gonna read those shits in probably like 40 minutes because that's how obsessed I was with it. Highly, highly recommend it to anybody who hasn't read it yet. I guess that segues us into the next part of this, of what I'm going to be reading the remainder of this month. That is going to be volumes up to 10 of Origami, because I'm waiting on Rightstuf to ship that into me. Speaking of that, Rightstuf had a really weird thing going on. I placed this order like jets. All right, the jets are gone. So as I was saying, Remy wanted to get some snuggets in real quick. But I ordered like probably 5 or 6 volumes maybe off of Rightstuf. And it took about a week for me to get any kind of confirmation from them. And all of a sudden they say that they need a photocopy of my driver's license. They need a photocopy of the front and back of my card to confirm my order. Now, I don't know if any of you guys have had this issue with Rightstuf, because I've never had this issue with any kind of online retailer ever. And I'm not gonna send my driver's license out to some random email. I'm not gonna send a photocopy of my email, of my credit card out to them. But it says that, okay, it's time for you to go down, I'm sorry. I swear to God, I need a fucking RPG, just. So basically, Rightstuf is telling me now that they won't fulfill my order until I send a photocopy of my license and my credit card to confirm my identity. I don't know how I feel about that. I wanted to support Rightstuf. I wanted to buy all my manga from them going forward, but I don't know. I think I'm just gonna go back to Barnes & Nobles and fucking eBay at this point. Maybe even Amazon, who knows? They'll at least send my orders. So I don't know if you guys have had this issue, but if that order comes in, I will read up to volumes 10 of Origami, the last 2 volumes of Happiness, and then also volume 4 of The Witch and the Beast. And those are the ones I'm having come in to finish reading. I've been waiting on since the beginning of March. I'll also continue reading the Blade of the Immortal Omnibus. And I'm also contemplating on when I want to start Goodnight Pun Pun. I'm trying to get into the mental state to read that, and I don't know how long it's going to take because I don't want to get pushed overboard into this deep depression after reading this series that I've heard so much about. They also are all sealed, so I'm kind of like contemplating if I even want to open those or if I just want to keep them sealed and kind of collect them like that. Now that I've already bought them, I have no problem reading them online since I've already supported the owner or the creator. So that's what my plan is for the rest of the month. Let me know what you guys are reading. Let me know if you've had this problem with Rightstuf, because it really ticked me off, honestly, and kind of has put me off the company a bit. So let me know what you guys think. I'll talk to you later. And stay tuned for the stream, the first stream with the Canon RP, the EOS RP. It's going to be fucking lit. Love you. Callie, no. Using the Jedi Force. Hey, no.